Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi, this is Kevin Lopez again from Personal Tutors, bringing to you chapter from 11th class NCERT syllabus called The Voice of the Rain by Walt Whitman. My friends, Walt Whitman is a scholar, an essayist, a poet, a playwright, a novelist, and numerous other things involved, a professor of language as well. The poem here, The Voice of the Rain, is actually a conversation between the poet and the rain. It's an unversely version that does not give up a rhyme, yet explains a conversation in the form of English literature's epitome that is called conversational sonnets. If we understand the base of such poetic works, we can find the difference between the rhyming sonnets, the critically analyzed explanations, a joyous poem, and a conversational material or a literature. The line version is, "And who art thou, said I to the soft falling shower, which strange to tell gave me an answer as here translated. The poet sits down in his place and asks the rain, "Who are you?" He explains it beautifully to them that to his amazement, he got a reply. Now, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe the rain replying him back on being asked a question that says, "Who are you?" "I am the poem of earth," said the voice of the rain, "internal arise, impalpable, out of the land and the bottomless sea." The rain here says, "I am the poem of the earth." The rain exclaims itself to be an epic of earth, a creation of earth. Friends, a poem is written by a poet. In the same way, the rain says that it is a poem written by the earth, depicting the earth as to be the poet who's composing the poem called Rain. If we look at the poem and the conversation, we can find the beauty in the sentences and the phrases that are being exclaimed in the poem. The line, "I am the poem of the earth," beautifies the works based on science and the power of evaporation, then condensation, and then the formation of rain. In the English literature, that exclaims the rain to be a work or an act of the Mother Earth itself. Internally arise, impalpable, out of the land and bottomless sea. The process of evaporation here is explained meticulously in these lines, as the rain says that it rises from the bottomless sea, giving us the notion of the process of evaporation due to the heat and the sun, upwards to heaven, whence vaguely formed, altogether changed, and yet the same. The evaporation rises up towards the boundless skies, which can be explained as the heavens. And vaguely formed clouds running around as vagabonds, yet the clouds are the same droplets of water that are being twisted and tossed in the boundless heaven, that is the sky above. "I descend to lave the drought atomies dust layers of the globe, and all that in them without me were seeds only, latent, unborn. I descend to lave. My friends, there is a term known as love, loved, lovingly. The poet here uses the word lave that encompasses the serenity and unconditional infliction of the earth towards the land, the places suffering from droughts, the places, the atomies, that is we, built up of atoms, and the dust layers of the clouds above in the atmosphere, and falls upon all them who were just seeds below the layer. The rain exclaims it to be a life giver to the seeds that in return turn out to be plants and give the mankind, the humanity, and all the atomies, that is the living organisms, food, shelter, wood, and many other things. And forever by the day and night I give back life to my own origin and make pure and beautify it. Here, the boastness and the rigidity and the lustrousness of the rain is explained, that it gives out the life to its own being. The metaphor here is rain being part of the earth and the water bodies, flies up to the heavens above, formidably roams around, being the same, that is a crowd, falling back to the earth and giving a life again to its own. It's about someone transforming into another matter, then coming back and giving life to its own being. That is meticulously explained and requires a lot of thinking. Thus, this poem is explained in the 11th class status of yours. It requires efforts and studies. Reading between the lines of the poems usually help us explain the taste involved and the nature of the poem. For song issuing from its birthplace after fulfillment, wandering, wrecked on rung, duly with love returns. If you read the poem, these lines are written into brackets. It explains that this no more is a conversation between the rain and the poet. It is a thought implied by the poet for a song issuing from its birthplace. It's like a song rising from the earth, roaming around the world, giving the music to everyone around, and then returning back to the place of origin. Let's take it as a person who started a journey from his birthplace, roamed around the whole world, endless boundaries, giving out joy in the form of rain, and then returning back to the place of origin where the journey had started. This poem beautifully depicts the process to us all in a form of a conversational sonnet between a person and the rain. Let's have a look at a few question and answers now. There are two voices in the poem. Who do they belong to, and which lines indicate this? The poem begins with a meticulous conversation and an inquiring mode of a poet saying, "Who art thou?" Thus, these lines are investigative in nature, and the poet asks the rain, "Who art thou?" To his amazement, the rain exclaims back, "I am the song of the earth." This gives poet an amazement and disbelief of rain speaking back to him and exclaiming it to be the song written by the Mother Earth, just as a poem written by a poet, and it comes back to the place of origin, thus giving life and roaming around everywhere. Why are the last two lines written in the brackets? The last two lines are written in the brackets because it no more signifies the conversation between the poet and the rain. Rather, it is the personal thought given in by the poet of the rain being in an ocean. Notice the following sentence pattern, and who art thou, said I to the soft falling shower. That is the poet asking to the rain. I am the poem of the earth, said the voice of the rain. This is the poem answering back to the poet. Eternal arise. Now the voice of the rain explains the process of evaporation, that internally I rise, and to no bounds. The clouds are found up above there, which to the poet seems eternal, rather considered to be heaven above. For song duly with love returns. The poet says that similar to the natural cycle of the rain and the earth, that the process of the science that gives us the rain is actually a song that duly returns, has got more depth. A song is something that people have been listening and amusing themselves and enjoying all their lives, yet rain impersonifies itself as a song that returns back to the place of its origin, giving everybody endless and boundless joys, and at the end coming back to the place where it started from. Look for some more poems on rain and see how this one is different. The voice of the rain has got similarities with quite a number of famous poets, like the one being The Rainy Day by Rabindranath Tagore, and The Rain on the Roof, again being a wonderful poem, as well as the song For the Rainy Season by Elizabeth Bishop, are certain works where poets have gone ahead and explained the beauty of the rainfall, impregnating the thoughts of coinciding it with the human life and the human nature. If you've got any more questions about the chapter, do comment below. We would certainly reply you back. If you want to know something about us or the personal tutor, you can just click the button about us. I would suggest you to subscribe the channel as well, since we have got 5,000 plus subscribers now actively watching our briefs and our videos every day. If you are in need of data, we will provide it to you online. We can also provide the data in pen drives on request. So thank you for joining this session today. It's Kevin Lopez once again.